Good afternoon. Uh,
Good afternoon, sir.
I think there are around 12 people now. Others will join. So this is very important lecture to ask others to join. Right. Okay. Then I am going to start the lecture, and this is about extrusion technology. You know why extrusion is important, and the course code is BTF 3222. So extrusion technology is one of the very popular technologies in the world. And when it comes to Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan people, they are also moving to extruded food products. So then the technology students, you should aware about the technology, what is extrusion technology and why is it important and how to do extrusion. So in this course module, I will explain about the extrusion technologies and raw materials, how to use those raw materials. And there are some calculations as well. So I hope that this will be a very interesting course module for you all. And in the final year students, your senior students, they also engage some extruded food product developments for their final year research activities. So therefore, extrusion technology is very important, and I hope you all are very interesting on this topic. And learning outcomes after complete this course module, you will be able to identify the advantages of food extrusion technology. I think you already aware about why is it important, and we will discuss the advantages in detail. The second one, to discuss basic parts of an extruder and their functions. So here we will discuss the basic parts and how to design those parts, and even you can design or we can design collaboratively uh, an extruder. So I think this is very practical course module. I very much like to do this lecture, and I do the same lecture for other universities, especially for Unitech students. The Unitech staff they have selected me for extrusion technology, so I think this is very interesting. And third one is to identify basic raw materials for food extrusion. We have so many raw materials in Sri Lanka utilized, still we are utilizing, and sometimes we have underutilized food products, raw materials. So then we can design some food products and develop some novel food products based on this extrusion technology. The fourth one, to categorize basic quality parameters for food extrusion. Yesterday I explained why quality is important. So here also we have to have a very good quality assurance program for extrusion technology. And when we are developing extruded food products, so it is better to have a good quality parameters to avoid hazards and quality dilapidations. So we are going to discuss the quality parameters at the end of this course module. And should the troubles arise during food extrusion, the troubleshooting is critical in as you are technology students, so you should have skills on troubleshooting. So sometimes you might engage with food processing industry, so there are some extruders, so you have to handle the issues and should the troubles arise. Then I'm going to discuss this with you, and this is a little bit I'm going to discuss a little bit complex things with you all, and how to design extruder, how to select extruders, and some engineering parts also I will discuss with you. Okay. Here also same, the continuous assessment and examination. You will have two continuous assessments in this course module, and lab works and assignments also they are. The first one is identification of different extruders and new technologies. You better to search through internet. Now you don't have like a library facility, so therefore I would like to invite you all to search some extruded food products and the new technologies available in the world. And hands-on experience in food extrusion, we have an extruder in our laboratory, so you can develop your own food products. And dough making and its properties, troubleshooting. So we will do these things in our laboratory. Here you can see several textbooks. You can read these things. Some of these textbooks are available online, and if you are interested, I can share some other textbooks with you. And here you can see a research paper, and there are so many research papers are available, and research findings are also available regarding food extrusion. So this is about the general introduction and about this course module, and you can read the books and find some details. And at the beginning, we will discuss about the introduction. We will do introduction about extrusion technology, and we can identify the parts of general parts of extruders and how to nomenclate it, how to name it, how to label those parts. And there are single screw extruders and double screw extruders are available. Several other types of extruders are also available. Die forming, pressure development like engineering parts, they are very interesting. And how to select food extruders. There are so many extruder types, so how to select a particular extruder for our processing line. And raw material identification and extruded food products. Nutritional changes during extrusion. It is very important again, how to secure the nutritional value, nutritional security, how to do that. And development of extruded food products, we are going to do some samples and quality controlling. So these are the things we are going to discuss, and some new things I'm going to discuss with you this year. I think it's clear, and today only 18 people, I don't know why. So the weather is still not good, so I think they have bad weather, so they have some problems. So no issue, but as I always telling you, so I am not going to ask these theories. So uh, you better to study these things, and you can read more books and articles. You can download these things from the internet. So okay, then introduction. First of all, we should have a clear image about extrusion. So as I always ask, why extrusion? What is extrusion? Where we can use it? And what type of extruders are available? And why is it important? Any advantage? And what are the disadvantages? Likewise, we can discuss. So I always value your comments and your ideas. You always are silent, so but I would like to invite again, please give your comments on these slides and this lecture, or maybe these the details we are going to discuss. So I always appreciate your comments and your ideas. So what is extrusion? I think we can discuss the definition later. And before that, I think we all have consumed extruded food products, and we are consuming extruded food products. So we can classify those extruded food products into two categories: ready to eat extruded food products and ready to cook extruded food products. So likewise, there are several classifications are available. This is very general one. We can classify the extruded food products in order to with ready to eat extruded food products and ready to cook food products. So can you give me example for extruded food products? And one example, Achini Sandunika, give me example for extruded food product. Yes, there are so many popular extruded food products are available. So Achini, give me
Noodles.
noodles. Okay. Then Dilisha.
For ready to eat ones are snacks and tip like products, and ready to cook ones are pasta, noodles.
Right. Very good. So how about Prabashi? Prabashi Hapu Arachi.
TPT like food product.
Yes. Good. So there are so many food products are available, and here you can see some ready to cook and ready to eat extruded food products. So soya meat, cornflakes, tip like snacks, and some spicy bites. And right, there are so many food products are available. And here also you can see some food products. The bottom one, the bottom picture, a composite flour mixture. As an example, Samu Posha, Oyaha Posha. Several brands are available in Sri Lankan market. They are very popular. Then in preparing those composite flour mixtures, we need extrusion technology, not not to prepare this type of shape. This is actually a ready to eat one, but in preparing the ready to cook one, the summer posha and yaha posha, we can see a powder form one, granules. So we use extrusion technology to develop such granules. And here you can see some pasta, spaghetti, lasagna like extruded food products. So it is very common. Actually, we all know, we all have consumed extruded food products, and we will consume those extruded food products. But as you are technologists, then your objective should be to develop modern food products as well as modern extruders. The extruders are very expensive, and it needs much electricity. So it's around 60 to 90 amperes we need. So therefore, we need to have a what do you call transformer near close to the extruder. So therefore, if you can develop an extruder with modern technologies by avoiding these disadvantages and errors, so you will have a good market. And this is actually a food extruder. You all know it's very commonly available tool in our kitchens. So it is also a type of extruder, but how to do it, you all know. There are two compartments, and we fill the dough mixture into the lower one and push it by using our hands. So we need to give a pressure force to pass this dough from top to the bottom, and based on this pressure you can see it will move, and at the end of this bottom part you can see a mold or die. So as a result of that, we can collect a shaped food product. Right? At the end of this process, you can get string hoppers. If we use a different die, shape of die or mold, then you can get another type of food product. So then what I wanted to explain here is we can use the same machine, the particular tool to develop different types of food products. So that is again very important. Okay. And there are some string hopper makers. You can see how it the previous one, and the mold, where's the mold and the shape of the mold. and the top part and the bottom part screwing die. So why they have why they are using this type of screws? Because the pressure is very high. So if we use if we can use uh, we can use another technology to attach this mold part with the bottom part, but based on due to this high pressure, it is very difficult to maintain that part. So sometimes you can see when we sometimes අපි ගෙදර ඉන්දියාව හදන්න ගියාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපි high එක we put a big pressure on the top part, then what happen? mold එක ගලවගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඉන්දියාව ටිකටම එකතු වෙන වෙලාවල අපි දැකලා තියෙනවා high pressure එකක් දුන්නාම. So therefore the engineering parts here, the engineering they have put some mechanical parts to avoid that errors. And some modern string hopper makers, you can see this is actually a type of small extruder. So instead of having this type of arms to push, here you can see a screw, so more user friendly ones. And here you can see several die shapes. So therefore we can use the similar same machine with different die parts to develop different shapes of extruded food products. And coil murukku making machine, and a machine which has developed by our Sri Lankan our student. You can see this one, the string hopper maker, and this one again about this is actually an Indian product, but I think that you can understand. You also can develop some machines by using these technologies. And now the domestic extruders are available in the market. We bought one for our laboratory last year. Now we have a pasta machine in our laboratory. Then you can change this die and develop different type of pastas or maybe spaghettis, like different types of products you can develop using this machine. You can have the experience when you come to the university. Right, I think it's clear. You all got the point regarding the extrusion, and I'm not going to explain it further, so you can understand why extrusion technology is important and the general introduction. Actually, the food extrusion is a unit operation. You know, there are so many unit operations are available in food processing. One example, unit operations. Manuri, what are unit operations? Give me example. Give me an example. Manuri.
Mixing.
Yes, mixing. Prabodhani. Prabodhini. Example for unit operation. Prabodhini, are you there? I think there is a connection issue. Okay. Then Humali. Humali.
Shearing.
Sorry?
Shearing, forming.
Shearing. And drying, mixing. Likewise, there are so many unit operations are available. So food extrusion is also a unit operation, but it is a little complex one because inside the extruders there are so many unit operations. We will discuss these things. And food extrusion is a process in which a food material is forced to flow. This is very important. We put a force. There is a force to flow, right? Can you remember the string hopper maker? We push it, then make a force to flow the dough mixture under one or more varieties of conditions of mixing, heating, shearing through a die. There is a die. Give me a minute. Sorry again. Okay, for the extrude, food extrusion is a process which is a food material is forced to flow under one or more varieties of conditions of mixing, heating, and shearing through a die. Again, it is very important. There should be a die. If it is extrusion process, there should be a die, right? Which is designed to form and or puff dry the ingredients. So here you can see some important wordings. So force is there to flow, and there are some unit operations inside the extruder. So extrusion also unit operation, but when we explain it further, when we take the full picture, then you can see there are different types of unit operations. As an example, mixing, heating, shearing, and might be moving of there may be some gelatinization and like melting like things also happening, and there should be a die. So based as a result of the pressure difference, then the dough mixture will move through the die, and at the end of the end product will be a dried one. So it will be a dried one. Sometimes the moisture level may be changed, altered, but normally you can see by your experience, you know the dried product we can get, and some puff products may be there. As an example, tippy tip, you can see there is a puff product. So the air trapping is there. And extruders can be used to cook, texturize, forming, mixing to develop the shape, and at the end of this product, we can get a different type. We can get different types of food products using similar ingredients, right? That is also one advantage, and it's a highly productive technology. We will discuss why is that. And here you can see an extruder. Here there are some very common parts as we discussed in the definition. So here you can see the barrel, then there is the screw. So how to generate the pressure? You can see this is the die. So this is an enclosed area. There is a motor. Then when we switch on this motor, you can see the screws might be moving. Then there is a big pressure in this end. As a result of that, and based on the shape of this die, you can get this product. And there is a feeder also to mix to add the ingredients inside the barrel. So these are the basic parts. We will discuss all the parts later, but now for the introduction, you should know the basic parts. So as we discussed in the definition, how to develop the pressure here by using this screw, right? There are two screws you can see, right? There are two screws, and there is a die. Then in this area, the pressure is very high. So as a result of that, you can see this product with a particular shape. That's all about the general introduction about the food extruders. And here you can see how it works. type of extruder, you can see the feeder here. This area, you can then you can see the die. The die. Small, this is a small scale extruder. Some basic part, but domestic one. Yeah, now from the here you can see there's facility to adjust the RPM and timers here and 2 RPM that is not there. This is top. The way of adding the raw material. Now you can see the output. I think it's clear now. So you can get the products from this end. Okay, I think it's clear now. You may see this type of extruders, and when we are when we get the coconut oil in white coconut oil extraction, you can see this type of extruders. It is we can get oil as a byproduct of those from those extruders, right? Then advantages of modern food extruders. We are going to discuss the advantages. So as I explained earlier, adaptability, it is very important. See? The adaptability is very important. It means we can use it for wide varieties of food products, and we can use it for mass production. And product characteristics, different product characteristics we can get by altering the extruder parameters. Maybe pressure and the barrel temperature and barrel speed. So we can control these things. And energy efficiency is there because we can use the same extruder for several food products, and there is only a motor. Low cost, comparatively low cost. New products can be developed. High productivity and automated controlling facilities there. Then we can control it automatically. And nowadays, some extruders, they have artificial intelligence technologies, they are being used. And high quality outputs, you could see that it's quality and very low amount of effluent because it is very efficient production. You can get a very efficient product. And processing scale up, it means we can use the same machine to produce wide varieties. Continuous reactor means we can feed it continuously, then get the outputs continuously. And some batch type extruders, we can use it as a batch type, but also we can use the same particular extruder for the as the continuous reactor. And contamination is very low again, but you can see some other machines used in food industry. So the highest problem is contamination, especially for dairy, fish and meat industries. Contamination is a critical issue, but here contamination is very low, and raw material wastage is low because so as we discuss in here, the effluent is very low. So as a result of that, waste is again very low. So I think now you can understand why is it important. So the next one. So now we can discuss further details about extruders. I think the things we have discussed is very clear, right? So here you can see some industrial extruders. It's very complex. So, but as we discussed here, this is the hopper and pre-processing. We will discuss these things later. What is pre-processing and how to do these things? And you can see the barrel and the shaft and the screw is there, and this is a cutter and dryer is also there. So this is actually a extrusion processing line, not a single extruder. This is the processing line. So when it comes to industry level, so we have to use the entire processing line based on our product. We can't do our production without having this type of processing line. We can't use a particular extruder, only the extruder to develop our product. There should be some pre-processing, some post-processing activities are there. So as an example, when we are going to develop tip like food products, there is a flavor. So after get the shape of the food product from here, from this end, then we have to fry it and we have to add some flavors. So different processing lines should be designed in order to our requirements. And functions of an extruder, we are using this type of raw materials, wheat flour, corn flour, or rice flour. Most probably we are using flour varieties in food industry, and sometimes you can use meat like protein based things, and starch and flours, meat, fish, and some carbohydrate products. So we can use these things, but most probably in our market you can see we have only, most probably we have snacks. So therefore they use wheat flour, corn flour, like flour and starch varieties to develop extruded food products. So the function means by using this type of raw materials, we can get the output like that. So value addition is there as we are Sri Lankans and as we are graduates. So our ultimate objective is to do something for our country. So you know that now we are in a mess. So it's a critical situation to the country. So what we have to do is promote value addition and exports. So we have very good raw materials. We have tea, we have coconut, we have fish, we have paddy, everything we have. But we have technologists, we have techniques, but the export channels are not developed. It have not been developed. So as we are technologists, so what we can do is develop and initiate your own businesses. Initiate your own business. Sometimes it will be at the initial stage, it is very difficult to get profits. But profit but with the time you can get profits. You know everything. You know laws and regulations. You know technologies. You know packaging materials. Everything you know, and management also. So therefore, I advise you to develop and initiate your own business after these 4 years. I also started one. So therefore, I advise you. Then functions of an extruder, you can see what we are going to develop here is cornflakes, right? Cornflakes. Then there are two processes here. From here, the conventional process. So what we have to do is on grids, then size classification, agitator, steam cooker, such. Likewise, there are several processes. But here you can see what we have to use is corn flour. And by using a particular extruder, you can get flaking meal, right? Here, I think you can understand the output should be flakes, maybe flakes or whatever the product. Here, flaking meal. So to get this output, when we use the conventional process, it means the old process, then you can see how many machines we need, and it will take much time to develop. So how many processing steps are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 processing steps, and it will take much time. But here you can get this output by using the same raw material, but only one processing step. So that's why extrusion is very important. So I just take these examples to explain you why is it important and what are the functions extruder has. So have. So I think it's clear. And there are some functions you can see: thermal cooking, degassing, dehydration, agglomeration, expansion, gelatinization, grinding, homogenization, mixing, pasteurization and sterilization, protein denaturation, shaping, shearing, texture alteration, and you know that we can get different shapes of food products, and unitizing. Unitizing means we can get the same food products. Unitize karana puluwa. Right? So therefore, extruders are very important. These are some examples for extruder functions. And out of these examples, there are so many functions in the extruder. You can think on that and plan your extruder. I think agglomeration, gelatinization, you have discussed in your physics lecture, but anyway, I will give you a brief introduction. Agglomeration means, here you can see powder and binder. When it comes to here two particles separately, then moistening means with the bonds you can get this type of texture. With the solid bridge you can get this type of texture, but at the end of the process, agglomeration means the BlackBerry structure is there. Here also you can see in the second example, these are the primary particles, maybe flour, oil, and binders and flavors. I think there are several raw materials. And agglomerization means they mix together. They bind themselves. So that is, we call it as agglomerations. Then you can download the definition and read. So I need to explain what is agglomerization and what is happening, right? Then here you can see primary particles loosely bound here, right? But together they have bound loosely together, but not 2-3 types, only primary particles bound together here, loosely bound, so we can break the bonds easily, since these bonds are very not solid bonds, they are very loose bonds, so we can break those things. And aggregation means, here you can see there is a separation process, but now we have rigid bonds. So agglomerization means, you can understand here, it's something about mixing and bond making, right? Then texture changes also there, and bond making is there, but the bonds are very loose bonds, very weak bonds, so you can break those bonds easily. Gelatinization, it's very common, so you all know what is gelatinization. As an example, in our domestic, what happened when we cook rice, we just take rice and water, mix together and boil it. And you know what happened with the time, the texture may change, the volume may change, and the characteristics, everything may change. What happened to the viscosity, it is also changed, right? Then when we are increasing the temperature, right? When we increase the temperature, you can see with the temperature, the viscosity will increase from here to here. But this is the maximum viscosity level. You can see the temperature, it's around 80, whatever the 80 degrees of Celsius, right? Then what happened when we increase the temperature further, then you can see what happened to the texture of these molecules, and also the viscosity also decrease again, right? And now here, from after aging, you can see a constant viscosity. Okay, this is cooling. Sorry, when we cool it, this is a very common example. Sometimes you know that you are making something about rice also, you can see this one. And as an example, when we put sugar, water together and boil it, then what happened, you know, then the viscosity will increase, and finally what happened, when we cool it, then the viscosity will decrease and constant viscosity is there. So starch occurs as highly organized structures, and they have unique thermal properties and functions that have permitted its wide use in food products and industrial applications. When heated in water, here heated in water, starch undergoes a transition process. You know, here you can see the transition process, during which the granules break down into a mixture of polymers in solution, known as gelatinization. There is a you can see granules, they break down, they break the granules and make polymers in this solution. So the viscosity increasement is there. So gelatinization is commonly happen inside the extruders. So as I told you earlier, there are different types of extruders, and extruders can be classified. Here I have used two major functions as method of operation and method of construction. So based on the operation methods, we can classify the extruders into cold extruders and hot extruders. What are the cold extruders? It means the temperature is reduced. Cold can hot extruders means temperature is high. So the cold extruders means the extruders are functioning around room temperature or below that. Hot extruders means the temperature of inside the extruders are higher than room temperature and sometimes very higher temperatures. And method of construction, we can divide it into three categories here: single screw extruders, twin screw extruders, and ram extruders. And again, we can divide twin screw extruders into two categories as co-rotating and counter-rotating. Extruder screw, we call it as single screw. If we have two screws, then we call it a twin screw extruders. And based on it, the rotation, the movement side, its movement, we can shape. If it is a co-rotating one, then two rolls, the two screws moving similar sides. Similarly, they are moving. For counter means they are the directions are totally different, right? As I told you earlier, cold extruders are process done at room temperature, slightly elevated, and as a result of that, the advantages of this cold extrusion are the lack of oxidation, high strength due to cold working, closer tolerance. Likewise, there are so many advantages. We will discuss these things in later. And you know the nutrition loss is very low because we are using very low temperature. So therefore, nutritional security is there. When it comes to hot extruders, it's hot working process done above the material recrystallization temperatures. What is recrystallization? To break the crystals. So we have to provide a little bit higher temperatures to break the bonds. So the temperature is higher, then what happened? Nutritional security is very low. Here nutrition loss is there. So that's why we called the extruded food products, the nutritional value of the extruded food products are very low. Protein, the nutrition value is very low. Okay. Questions? Do you have questions? Introduction because we have to discuss so many things in this module. Questions? Do you have questions here? No. Okay, then as we discuss here, there are here I have used two classifications: method of operation and construction. And when we discuss method of construction, single screw extruders are available. Then we can divide it further based on the extent of shear. Shear means sorry, it's somewhat about pressure. Then again there are cold forming extruders, high pressure forming extruders, low shear cooking extruders, collet extruders, and high shear extruders. There are several extruders based on its shear. Shear means the pressure inside this barrel. We will discuss all these things later. Don't worry, we will discuss these things. I just want to show you the classification. Based on the shear, there are around 5 types of extruders, and based on heat, there are again 3 types of extruders: adiabatic extruders, isothermal, and polytropic extruders. So we can classify the extruders based on their shear type, exchange of shear and heat, and also we can use several parameters to classify. This is the barrel basic parts of single screw extruders. Here you can see, since it is a single screw extruder, only one screw is there, and this is the die part, and we will discuss how it happens. Important parts of the extruder and components of extruders. I think you can remember there are some preconditioning systems, feeder sections, screw is there. Then in this area, you know, the cooking, cooling, texturization is happening. And extruder barrel, we call it as the outer cover, and dyeing and shaping. You know these things we have discussed. Here you can see the parts, right? Gearbox is the motor, and how to control the way of controlling temperature and the speed, shear, all these things. This is the feeder. This is a feeder and barrel. You can see the barrel here, from here to here is the barrel. Inside the barrel, you can see screws. Here you can see only one screw. So this is a single screw extruder, but the screw is inside the barrel, right? It is inside the barrel, and this is the die, and there are heaters and fans. You can see for what? To provide the heat. We have discussed there are several types of extruders. We can increase the temperature and we can decrease the temperature, but here we have to decrease the temperature. But in this inside the barrel, sometimes we need to, most of the times we need to increase the temperature. So therefore we are using this type of heaters, and we use this type of fans to cool the output. The output take cool current time with the fan. Here we can see the die. So these are the very basic parts. Can you remember? This is the motor and gearbox. This is a motor, you can see gearbox and motor compartment, and feeder, barrel, screw, heaters and fans. Optional, these are optional heaters and fans, and die. Right? These are the basic parts. So here you can see how it works. Hopper is there, feeder section, and this is actually not about food extruder. This is a polymer extruder. The functions are same. How it works. This is the extruder. This is the what do you call it, as a shaft or a screw. Then you can see how it works. This is a type of the different type of extruders. You can see the different shape of this screw. Diameter has been increased from here to here, right? So forget on that. This is, I just take this picture to give you an idea about extruder, how it works. This is actually a food extruder, industrial extruder. You can see the motor, it is around 15 horsepower. So a very big one. We need 3-phase electricity to function this one. And you can see the other motor in here, feeder section for the what do you call it, for the homogenization process. There are several motors in this extruder. Here also you can see the motor to take this feed efficiently inside to the barrel, right? This is a cross section. You can see motor and gearbox, all these things here. Then the screw feeder is there. You can see a different term, screw feeder. When we use a viscous solution, V වගේ powder form එකක් ගත්තොත් මෙතන screw එකක් ඕනේ නැහැ. We need not to have screw. But when we are using a thick solution, thick dough, then it is very difficult to move from here to top to bottom. So then we need to have a screw feeder. and we will discuss how to design this type of feeders, then how to design it, how the types of feeders. We will discuss these things later, right? Then this is the barrel jacket. What is the purpose of having barrel jacket? You can see in the ash color, you can see the barrel, and here you can see barrel jacket again. This one, this is the barrel, this is the screw, and again we have a barrel jacket for what? For the safety. නේද? නැත්නම් මේක රත් වෙනකොට අපිට වැඩ කරන්න බෑ මේක hazards වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So therefore here this extruder has been developed by improving its qualities in safety. So therefore we can see the barrel jacket to control the temperature and for the safety. And the die, all you know the similar parts here. Okay, I am going to stop from this slide. We will discuss the parts one by one later in detail. All these things we will discuss. So I think today we discuss about the importance and what is extrusion technology, why do we need extrusion, and its advantages and classification, and some functions also we have discussed. So you have any questions? මොනාර තේරුණේ නැති නම් තියනවද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට? I will upload the lecture recording also.